Oh, yeah. You know what time it is. That's right. It's time for the Eddie and Webby podcast. Yo, I'ma bust out some theme song action for you. Check it out. The Eddie and Webby show is the place to be. They're talking about beer and pickleball and technology. So if you didn't know, now you know. 'Cause it's time for the Eddie and Webby show.
On today's episode, Eddie and Webby play a game of Battleship. This is the Eddie and Webby podcast.
Do it either. It's that pickleball one with Webby and what? I don't know. It'll take like an hour. I'm not sure. I don't want to do it. Oh, hey, how's it going? I'm Matt, not Webby.
And I'm Eddie, and this is our 27th podcast. Yes, episode number 27. I can't believe we made it, but we are here and we are live. As you guys know, Webby is not here with us, so we found this guy on the street and just said, "Hey, you wanna jump in and cover for Webby today?" And yeah.
That was great, man. I think how you noticed me on the street was all these nonsense medals around my neck, and you're like, you know what? That guy looks like the perfect Webby to host the show here with us. I am honored that you chose me here, Eddie, to be a part of the show. I will try to do at least 1/4 as good of a job as Webby does on the best pickleball podcast in all of podcasting land.
Yes, love it. Well, we're super excited to have you today here, Matt. Thank you very much for spending your afternoon with us. And you're not even really like a guest host this time. Like you're like an actual host. So that's pretty impressive. Yeah.
It's great, man. It's like, sometimes Jimmy Kimmel has to go on vacation and sometimes they have to get Dak Shepard to sit in. So yeah. I will be Dak Shepard today.
Nice. Well, we appreciate it. We have a great show for you guys today. Not only do we have Matt hosting in place of Webby, we also have a very special guest that we're going to be bringing on very soon. I don't want to give away the surprise just yet, but if you saw the thumbnail, you'd probably know who he is. He was the first guest we ever had on the show, and we're going to get to him real soon. But before we do that, you know what we do? We talk beer and we talk pickleball. But before all of this, hey, Matt, do you want to maybe do Webby's job and talk about some Twitter comments we've had?
Oh, yeah. We are out there in the world of Twitter. What does he say? The Twitter sphere? I think I got it down here. Yep. The Twitter sphere. Huh? See, I'm holding it down. These medals are so annoying. And just for everyone out there that thinks I'm being arrogant, this is not at all. It's done in jest. And half of them are at 3-0 and 2-5. So don't worry about it.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with 3-0 medals and 2-5 medals. Come on.
There you go. Yeah. I love it. Let's see what's going on in Twitter sphere. First here with Twitter handle at Booze Springsteen. I'm so glad you guys had Gizmo Hall on your show recently. I've always wanted to learn more about that guy. And he is just as cool, if not cooler, than I expected! Exclamation point. That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about it. He's one of those guys I feel like is famous out there in the pickleball world and unique, which is what the pickleball field needs. So it's cool as hell to have you guys have him on.
Yeah, that was really fun. He was a great guest. It was cool to see him at the Nationals. That place looked beautiful, man, when he was taking his camera and showing us all around. So, yeah, he was a great guest. Super excited to have him on. And I agree with you. I love the fact that he's not your typical pickleball player, right? And he's bringing kind of this youthful edge to it, and it's pretty impressive. So what he's been able to do is pretty impressive as well. So, awesome.
Yeah, especially in a short time. Very cool.
Yep. Thank you, Booze Springsteen, for that.
Booze Springsteen. From Booze Springsteen, we go on to Lenny Krapvitz. I wish Webby would stop talking over guests so much. If I wanted to hear people talk over each other, I'd watch The View. Wow.
Yikes.
So it sounds like I have to not talk over any guests, and I'll always be ahead then, I guess, at that point.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing is that we're doing live streaming. Obviously, we're all in different locations, so there's always going to be a delay when you're using the internet. So sometimes that helps cause it, but I think we're trying to improve. We're trying to figure out ways to not talk over each other and keep listening because we're going to get better and better.
Yeah, take it easy, Lenny Kravitz. We're just getting here, buddy.
Yeah, Lenny.
Yeah, Lenny. Lastly, Drew Carrymore. I love your podcast, but why do they seem to keep getting longer and longer lately? I can't listen to the whole thing in one seating like I used to. I'll let you take that there, Eddie.
Yeah, so when we first started, we were trying to keep it down to like a half hour, and then that slowly creeped into an hour, and then we said, all right, let's have some guests on. Let's try and get it under an hour. And then that crept up to like an hour and a half, and we started going live, and I think last episode it was an hour and 40 minutes. So we're doing what we can. We're doing what we can to try and figure out the sweet spot to have enough content to make it interesting, make it fun. But at the same point, you're right. I think shooting for an hour might be a little bit more reasonable. I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
I think the same thing. You'll get your pace, people, and I guess just take 2 seatings there, Drew Carrymore. Just have yourself 1 seating. Get up, stretch your legs, have yourself a 2nd seating. It's America, man. You can do whatever you want. So
yeah, I like it. Well, great Twitter comments. Thanks for sharing those, Matt, on behalf of Webby. I think we should bring on our guest. I know he's been patiently waiting here, but before I do, I want to play a little clip. He was actually recently on the news. So this video is from KHOU News in Houston. So without further ado, let's roll it.
This isn't ping pong, it's not badminton, it's not tennis. This is pickleball.
Pickleball is a paddle sport. It started in Washington State in the 60s and it is currently the fastest growing sport in the U.S.
All right, so the basics. You start with a paddle that looks kind of like a big ping pong paddle. Then there's the ball, which looks like a heavy-duty wiffle ball. Of course, there's a net. So what's next, Andrew?
On either side of the net, there's 7 feet called the kitchen. You can't hit the ball out of the air from the kitchen. So you can't just stand there and hammer the ball.
Just like in tennis, you can play singles and doubles.
Yeah, it's just a really, really fun social sport.
Want to play? Pickle Pints brings this setup to breweries all over Houston.
The craft beer scene is amazing. I think the community that supports it is really fantastic, and it's just something that just made so much sense.
To find out where they're hitting up next, pop on to khou.com.
Wow. Well, there we go. Welcome to the show, Andrew with Pickle and Pints. How's it going, man?
Excellent. How you guys doing?
Hey, great. That was awesome, man. When Webby sent me that clip of you on the news, I was like, yes, Andrew's starting to crush it out there in Houston. So that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. The lady's name was Brandy Smith, and I just came to find out just this past week that she actually won an Emmy this year.
What?
Which is awesome. So I was like, wow, I got interviewed, drinking beer and playing pickleball by, somebody that really knows what they're doing.
Wow. That's pretty impressive, man. An Emmy Award winner. Wow. That's, unbelievable.
Yeah. So, it was fun. I had randomly run into her boyfriend, who I didn't know had a girlfriend at the time, and I was just talking to him, and he's a meteorologist here in Houston. He was like, well, let me introduce you to my girlfriend. And she turns around and, we start chatting for a little bit and, connected on Instagram. And then she sends me this message like a week after we met each other. And she was like, I'd like to do a story on you. And I was like seriously? She's like, yeah, there's nobody else is doing this in the country. Like, this is a great story. And I was like, all right, cool. So it took a couple of months of trying to find a time that worked for both of us, and she came out to that brewery. It was called Sigma Brewery. It's on the east side of downtown Houston, and it's owned by 2 buddies that went to high school together, and they started it. I think they just had their 2nd anniversary, and they make awesome beers. They're big metal fans. They love Terminator. They're super cool guys to hang out with. And the funny thing about that day, it was like seriously blowing like 20 to 30 miles an hour of wind. Wow. It was crazy. And so for her to make that, 1 minute clip look the way it did took a lot of effort, because I
Uh-oh. Did we just lose Andrew?
We lost. Maybe the 20 to 30 mile an hour winds knocked him out here at this point.
Yeah. I was going to say, or maybe we played that video and they're like, no, you can't play that on the air. They cut his feed.
They ripped it. They give him a cease and desist.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
can he just log back in? How's it work? Is that
hopefully he'll be able to log back in. So we'll keep the show going, and then once he pops back in, we'll be able to bring him back on. And hey, we got to think on our feet, right?
Exactly. That's what we do here at the Eddie and Matt show.
I mean, you're a comedian, so yeah.
In a true Webby sense, and have my cat come on. Her name is Missy Elliott. She is not very happy to be on right now, but Missy, say you can't stand the rain into the microphone. Nope.
Oh, that's awesome, man.
That's you. So yeah, she came out. She must have known that this is her one time to get on a podcast, so she knows it's the perfect one. So.
Yeah, Webby's cats are famous, so now Missy's famous too. That's pretty awesome.
Exactly, man. I love it. I'm so interested by what he does, especially, in a city as major as Houston and such as well too, which I don't mean to disparage anything, but sometimes I feel like some of the bigger cities and stuff aren't really as familiar with pickleball as they should be. Like, I've been to Chicago a few times to visit friends because it's not far from my home in Grand Rapids, and they don't really have much of a scene, which is wild to me to think that, oh my God, this city has literally every type of food and every type of beverage that you could ever want, and then the biggest sports in the world. But then when you get to the quote unquote fastest growing sport in America, it seems to be that, like, there's a scene. I don't want to disparage anybody, but it's like, what the hell? You guys should have the best and greatest of any of these places. But yeah.
I totally agree, man. Yeah, what he's been able to do with Houston is awesome. So hopefully we're going to be able to get him back on here soon, and he can finish up, because I'd love to hear more about the success that he's had since we've had him on the show. He was on episode number 9, so that was back in May or June, I believe. So yeah, he was our very first guest.
Wow.
So yeah. Well then, I think while we're waiting for Andrew to see what's going on with his internet issues, I think we should wet our palate a little bit here and have some beers. Yeah, yum, yum, yum. We're going to switch it up today. Usually we do like a typical beer review, right? And that's fun. And I enjoy doing that a lot. It helps channel my inner beer nerd. I feel like I don't get to talk beer as much as I used to back in my brewing days. So it helps fulfill that part of it. But today I wanted to switch it up a little bit. Webby and I were talking a little bit, and we thought about, why not have our guests and I share our favorite fall/winter beer, talk about it a little bit, and then drink it. So that's what we're going to do.
Sounds great. I like it. See, we get a little switch up. We get a switch up of a co-host. We get a switch up of the different type of beers, and we get some 20 to 30 mile an hour winds knocking down cell towers to commit the Wi-Fi here at this point. So it's curveballs, man. We'll do it live. That's how we get it. So
we'll do it live. I love it, man.
I'll write it and we'll do it live. I want to see what. Go ahead.
You're gonna keep me cracking up this whole episode, aren't you?
I hope, man.
Yeah.
Let's see what the Facebook commenters say. They'd be like, "Oh, tell that guy he's too loud, and his forehead needs makeup right now." So.
Oh, that's funny. They didn't come to your house to do your makeup? Yeah? No, they didn't do your makeup beforehand?
They didn't. You know, your guys' budget, I think, on episode 27 isn't as high as it's going to be on episode, let's say, 127. Then, like there'll be a team of makeup artists beyond me and stuff here instead of a cat walking on screen. So.
Right. There's a budget? That's right. Well, here, I'm getting thirsty. Let's drink some beer. So I'm hoping you can go first, Matt. So what is your favorite fall/winter seasonal beer that you have? And keep in mind, guys, Matt lives in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I live in Naples, Florida. So 2 very different climates this time of year. So keep it in mind as we're going through the beers that we're going to share.
Yet we both are still wearing short sleeves. So that's a nice little trick. I like that. That's true. A nice shirt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yours is pretty nice too. I wonder where you got that from.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
This podcast that they forced me to co-host. That's where I got it from. So it's nice.
Nice.
Well, my favorite fall beer, I'm excited about it because it's the unique thing about it is that it doesn't have to be this beer that, everyone it's niche. You didn't have to, trek 20 miles in the sand to be able to get to it or fight 3 hours of lines to be able to get to it. In fact, a former guest host drank it on one point at one of the things. And my favorite beer for the fall is actually this. Yeah, right, Glenn. Suck it, buddy. This is trash, and this is where it should go. I'm not drinking that thing. That's when it comes in a brown paper bag, Glenn, because it's embarrassing. So that's where I think that should go. So I had to do it. Man. He didn't respond, and I was like, we took a hiatus when we set up all this equipment, and I ran to the liquor store on the corner and grabbed the worst beer they had in there. And believe it or not, it was a Bud Light. So there you go. No, I just had to do it for Glenn. But no, my favorite beer in the fall to drink. I'm glad you said that it's about Grand Rapids because it is different climates. But this is a pretty big craft brewery that I feel like I absolutely love. It feels like it's part of the namesake of Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's one of my favorite brewery personally in the entire world. And this is actually probably, if not, it's definitely top 3 beers that they make there. And the brewery I'm talking about is Founders. And the beer I'm talking about is their Harvest Ale. This is the truth when it comes to beers, as far as I'm concerned. For those of you that don't know, it is a wet hopped IPA and that's what it means. So basically a wet hopped ale. So at that point, wet hop just means is that when the hops are picked from the vine, they have to be within the fermenter within 24 hours. So it's the freshest ingredients you could possibly have, the freshest taste. So the hop is wet when it's added to the fermenter, and it just almost tastes like thirst quenching in some sort of way. So they're really only usually good for about 30 to 45 days. I had to find a liquor store that still had it because they do a good job of pulling it off the shelf because they want you to taste it at its freshest possible taste. And I found one that didn't do their job and pull it off the shelf. So I'm glad I did.
Where did you get it from?
I got it from an awesome place in town called Rishi's. It's a great beer and liquor store around here. You can get single beers, and then like they're usually first with if there are any crazy beers like I'm talking about, like Bourbon County Stout from Goose Island. There's people waiting for that and stuff. So it's a good place. I actually looked for a couple other ones as well too, and I was happy I found this. So yeah,
very nice, good choice. I've actually never had it. I've had a lot of Founders beers, but that is one that I've actually never had before. So I'm curious to see what you think about it.
I got to send you one if I don't drink all 4 on this podcast because we lost our guest. So.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. While you're pouring that, I will share with you the beer that I chose. So,
all right.
I think this might be a little surprising for you and some of our listeners out there. Because most people that know me think of me as either a hophead or I do like a lot of those, big bourbon barrel-aged stouts. I like that, that craft beer, right? Like the craft beer injection that you get when you first start it and you're like, oh, you're all psyched up about it. I like those beers. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love them as a special treat. They're good. But starting in like September time, I get real excited about beers that I start seeing up on the shelves. And that is a lot of the Oktoberfest or Märzen style beers. And it's nice because it's refreshing. It's a little bit different of a change. I look forward to having some of those darker European lagers and just the different feel, the different taste, the whole different experience that you get from an Oktoberfest or Märzen style of beer. But as we get a little bit closer towards, November, December, the holidays, I like also staying within that same realm, but maybe stepping it up a little bit. And that's why I like to go for Doppelbocks this time of year. And specifically the Spaten Optimator. I think you have to say it like that when you...
You do. You have to wear a kilt.
Yeah. Yes, the Spaten Optimator. This is one of my favorites. I also like the Celebrator by I never pronounce it right. Inger. But yeah, either way. But I think that I'll typically reach for this one if I'm going to have a Doppelbock. One of my favorite bars in downtown Detroit, where I travel for work a lot and grew up in that area, it's a German bar basically, and they usually have this on tap there as well. So this kind of holds a special place. It's Optimator by Spaten.
No, the name of the bar.
Yeah. Oh my God, I can't even think of it right now. It's right by the Shelter in St. Andrews.
Oh yeah,
man, totally crossed my mind the name of it, but great German food, tons of German beers on tap there and in bottles. So I bet you the name's going to come to me here any minute. But
all right, I was going to Google it, but I'll let the Eddie universe put together here.
Really nice place though. So that's typically what I go for. What's your take on German lagers, Matt?
I love them, especially Doppelbock, and especially it kind of coincides with like that of the theme of a harvest where it's fresh and it's the time of year to drink it. And there's a reason why Oktoberfest is held in October, and it's a unique time to be able to have this. So, I mean, I'm typically not one to really seek them out in any other month, but during that month, it's just like seeking these out. So, yeah.
Good. Well, let's go ahead and pour our beers here. What do you think about like spiced beers and different Christmas style beers? Are you a fan of those or?
I am. Oh man. I don't. Again, I feel like I have to give all these. I don't want to offend anyone. But the pumpkin spice ones, those can go right to hell.
Oh wow. Okay.
Any of those. I can't. I think the brewers don't like them. They have to brew them only because of blah 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 blah. But I do like some of them, depending on the spice. You obviously, it's just like anything. It's like a course, a chef creating a certain beer. If you told me that I would like, I don't know, wild game with some sort of a cinnamon flavor, I'd be like, well, that's not going to work.
Right.
It apparently does at some points. So it just, I guess from what I've taken most in the palates and stuff, I usually prefer it to be just a normal beer. But if they can spice it with the right things and make it like that, I'm more than happy to try a cinnamon bourbon barrel aged, what have you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you too. I mean, I definitely like some of those Christmas beers that I usually get later December. It's nice to see them on the stores, especially down here in Florida when you have like palm trees and Christmas lights, and you see these Christmas beers that remind you of how grateful you are to not be trekking through snow and slush all the time. And it's a fun experience. So
you know what? I should back that up. As you mentioned that too, Great Lakes Brewing makes a crystal Christmas ale. Mm-hmm. I really like that one. That one's decently spiced. That's a lot of honey and like corn sweetener and things of that nature. So it's, I mean, it's one of the ones I think that pours really well. And people, I guess, like in the Midwest especially, but really in Cleveland, they treat it like Oberon when it first releases, in that of Michigan, where it's like it's a theme and people go crazy over it. So.
That's cool. Yeah, I've had that before too, and I definitely enjoy people showing up to Christmas Eve with a 6-pack of that. So,
yeah.
I think we got Andrew back, so I'm gonna go ahead I think he's back here. Let's go ahead and see. Hey, there he is.
Woo!
Yeah. Those 20 to 30 mile an hour winds took out your Wi-Fi there, huh?
Yeah, going. Yeah, they ruined everything.
Ah, jeez. Well, you actually came back at a very good time because Matt and I both talked about our favorite fall beers, and so we were going to give you the opportunity to share your favorite fall or winter beer with us.
Yeah, it's right here, St. Arnold's Pumpkinator.
Nice.
It's a lot like what you guys were just talking about with Oberon. They release it on the second Monday of every October, and it just comes in these bombers, and it's like you're fighting people in line at the grocery store or at the the local like craft beer place to get it on the first day. So they make They make this in the 22, and then last year they did a bourbon barrel aged in a 12 ounce. This is like 10 and a half. The other one clips in like just below 14. It's an Imperial Pumpkin Stout, and it won a gold medal at Great American Beer Fest in 2017 for its category. So it's no joke.
Wow, that seems pretty impressive there. Can you talk a little bit about yeah?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about like the flavor of it, or really what kind of style of beer it is?
Stout. It's got a ton of molasses in it. It's got some other baking spices. The pumpkin comes through a lot. This is a 2017, so when you get them, they're real bright. They're real boozy right off the tongue. And I won't even touch it for like 60 days. You know, I'll go and try to source 8 to 12 of them and just let them sit throughout the year. This has been over a year. I get a lot of cherry notes. The older that they get.
Do you think some of the cherry notes are coming from oxidation, or do you think that's actually just part of the style of beer that maybe comes out as it ages a little bit?
I honestly don't know. I mean, it's sweet. You get the pumpkin, you get the molasses, but you definitely get that like rich cherry, kind of dark cherry, almost like a pie, like a cherry pie, which is great. I mean, I love it.
That's cool.
So I came in and I heard you talk about, what were you talking about, Eddie?
Well, yeah, so Matt and I both shared our beers. I was saying I like to go with the German Doppelbock, the Spaten Optimator is what I had chosen for my fall beer.
Okay.
And then Matt, what do you want to share yours again?
Yeah, I went with a Founder's Harvest Ale. I love Harvest Ales. I don't know, I've like anything wet hopped this time of year is usually my favorite. And actually this is probably around maybe about a week or two late here right now. It should all be drank by this point in order to enjoy it at its best capability, because it's the most fresh possible beer you can have at this time. But yeah, that's my go-to between those. You know, Sierra Nevada does a really good wet harvest beer, and they do a wild one as well too. And actually they're really behind in terms of when they release harvest ales. They usually release them like early November as opposed to early October. So I get to keep the wet hop parade going. So
awesome. That's solid.
Yeah.
That's cool. Wet hop beers are definitely great. So
I got a question for you guys. There was I was fortunate enough to be kind of asked to be a part of what's called Beer Chronicle Houston. It's these 4 super hard working guys that are seemingly they're like multiplicity. I don't know. They're like Michael Keaton in Multiplicity. They're all over the city. They know everything. You know, there's not any event that goes on around Houston that they don't know about or aren't there. And they asked, do you think, the most recent question, do you think the independent craft brewer seal that you see on packages and bottles actually means anything to people who aren't diehard craft beer people like you and I, like the 3 of us? What's your take on that?
Matt, you want to offer your opinion on that one here first?
Sure. To be honest, I don't think it means much to the people that aren't diehard craft beer lovers like ourselves. I think they think by purchasing anything non-macro, just the big horses like the Coors, Miller, Anheuser-Busch, those ones, I think that they're buying craft beer in a lot of the world and stuff too. So I think, I think that they don't know if it's on there. To the average consumer, as far as for food, I would compare it to that non-GMO Project Verified little butterfly that you see in a lot of food and stuff. And so if I'm not concerned about GMOs, or if I'm, just purchasing it because I like the taste of the pineapple mango salsa, I don't even notice that it's certified on there. But, the ones that actually do, like we said about the 3 of us, I think that seal does mean a lot more than the ones that know it. But I do think for the average consumer, they're just buying stuff that they think that, either if they don't drink craft beer, they think that their relatives or their family members might. So.
Gotcha. That's fair. And that and
Yeah.
I basically answered the same thing. It was like, there's all these multinational conglomerates that are buying up farms all over the place, and you don't necessarily know. Right back to super valid point that you made. You don't really know where it's coming from unless it's got a seal on it that says so.
Yeah, and that the funny part is that I do feel like when it comes to beer, there's two extremes, right? You have your people that don't really know anything and think that, Leinenkugels is a craft beer, right? And then you have your diehards that really know the ins and outs of it, and very few people fall in between there. So if I'm at a beer store and I see a beer that I've never seen before, I don't know that I'm necessarily going to look for that seal. I'm probably going to research them, look them up, see what's going on. But that rarely even happens, right? And I don't know that I'm much more into the beer world than the average beer connoisseur. And I feel like I know when I go to the shelves everything that I'm seeing, and I know the story about that brewery. Are they small? Are they big? Are they really owned by any of these large conglomerates? So to me, I'm not really sure that seal is gonna say a whole lot to me. What I will tell you, though, is down here in Florida, they have the Drink Local campaign, right? So you have all these craft breweries that have, either on their website or as part of their brewery, they have the Florida state, the actual map of Florida, and it says Drink Local. And that, to me, I think resonates more with people that fall on the other end of the spectrum, the ones that aren't really that big into the beer world, than maybe an independent brewer sticker or whatever would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree that even from a consumer standpoint, even if you're not even looking at food or beverage, just the shop local of, I guess Cyber Monday and then Small Business Friday. Is that what they call it?
Small Business Saturday. Yep.
Saturday. Okay. So yeah, Small Business Saturday. I feel like people resonate more with that. So that's a good point, Eddie, about the fact to be able to say that just even putting that, and we see that Michigan seal all the time on craft brews and stuff around Michigan here right now. Actually, I heard a cool story when Founders came out with what essentially is their answer to what would be a macro beer of a regular lager from one of the macro producers, the Solid Gold.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen that out there, Andrew and Eddie? Yeah. They
I don't know if
you haven't yet? Okay. Yeah, it's basically like a cleaner ingredient lager that comes through much tastier in the same notes and same quadrant as what would be a Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light kind of situation. But they said the reason why they created it is not only because they wanted to create a quality lager that people were hopefully demanding for, but 20% of shelf space at the beer store is craft beer. 80% is macro. So all these craft breweries are all fighting for that 20% of shelf space, and they're all battling back and forth. And they're like, why are we all fighting for the same 20% when we could start to go over to some of this area? And if we can price it correctly to be able to match some of that and have it taste hopefully just as good and more than likely better, then hopefully we can bring some of those people that are turn their nose down at craft beer because they don't care, they don't like it, into some other things, but then also hopefully take some percentage for the little guy.
Yep. Well, like Sam Adams just a couple years ago getting to 1% of the market, which was huge.
Yeah.
But you just realize like how much real estate, the big guys do actually own out there. It's scary. And they're just gobbling up breweries left and right, unfortunately.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, craft beer still represents such a small portion of the market that I think, to Matt's point, everybody's battling for this small space on the shelves where it's like, why even fight that fight? Why not continue to work together to just get craft beer out there, knowing that it's going to help you and all of your other businesses. And one thing that I've always found unique about the craft beer industry, and maybe not unique, but something special, is that I don't feel like there's as much animosity towards each other. I do feel like breweries that are even down the street from each other are like, hey, let's build this together. And I hope it stays that way.
Yep. Oh, I agree.
For sure.
100%.
Yeah. Great topic though. I feel bad that we got cut off there a little bit earlier, Andrew, as we were talking about a lot of the success that you've had with Pickle and Pint. So hoping to transition back into that. We had you on the show back in, I think it was May. It was episode 9, and we're at 27 now.
Okay.
Can you talk a little bit about?
I knew it
Yeah.
was hot here. I knew it was in the summer-ish. I couldn't remember when it was. But
Yeah.
okay. May sounds about right.
Yeah, May or June, sometime in that area. But can you talk about what's been going on with Pickle and Pint since we've had you on?
Yeah, so I think at that time I was at 2 breweries. And I say I should mean we now. I've got a business partner. His name is Brett Lazarine. And it's interesting. Brother Matt Lazarine is a pickleball instructor in Austin, who I haven't met him yet, but I guess is from what everybody says, is well respected in the industry. So you got a couple of brothers out there, playing pickleball. So he came on. He showed up to one of my events and just kind of started picking my ear. And I was like, well, I mean, I can't do these by myself, and my children get tired of helping me set up. Like, would you like to come on board? And he was like, absolutely. So, he's been an awesome addition. I have been to 6 breweries, and I have 5 on a monthly rotation now. So it's like the first Saturday of every month I'm at a specific one, and the second Sunday I'm at a different one. So it's nice that people, kind of have, that consistent schedule to say, oh, this was going on at this time, like, let's go check it out. And I'm happy to say that there's been, the last 4 or 5 events, people that have just been at the brewery, just hanging out, drinking beer, walk over, and they're, everybody's always interested, like, what's going on? What is this? And, it's great to take the time to sit there and, kind of inform them of where it came from and what we're doing. And actually, it's nice because they're saying, all right, well, I want to play. This looks great. This looks so fun. Sign me up. I've got 3 kids and my wife, and we want to go play. And so that's been really, really nice to see. And also, like, obviously being in Houston, the weather right now is perfect. And obviously it's a little hot over the summer. So yeah, things have been really, really good. So far we got, we're booked out through, January at all these places. And this is actually, brand new, but we just got, sponsorship, by Head. Head is certainly trying to make inroads into the pickleball realm. So I've got a box here. I haven't opened it yet, but this is the first box of stuff that they sent to me. And I guess I'll just open it right now and see what they got.
That's awesome, man. I mean,
What's in the box? What's in the box?
Oh, that's pretty impressive, man, to have Head come in and sponsor you. I mean, obviously you have to be doing some pretty good success with Pickle and Pints. That's great.
Yeah, it's been it was nice. Like, I was just on a couple of forums in the Houston area, and one of the head reps just reached out and was like, hey, this is awesome. Like, I want, and he's a craft beer guy, as I've gotten to know him as well. And he was like, this is great. Like, I want to, let me talk to the higher ups and see what we can do, and I'll get back in touch with you. So, I mean, obviously you guys know, what happened in the last week out at Indian Wells, how, Margaritaville, sponsored the whole thing. So this is the first thing that I pulled out of the box.
Nice.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Those pedals are great. Look at that.
So, yeah, those are great paddles. So yeah, that's super cool. We got 2 of those. Radical Pro.
Nice.
Woo!
Cool.
That's pretty.
So yeah, one Radical Tour. And they sent a couple of nets down here, which obviously is going to be a little difficult to show. So we got that. Oh, what else here?
That's pretty cool too. That was Head that sent it to you, because I think that of all the brands and pickleball paddles and stuff, people that transition from the tennis world, if they don't know even what the hell pickleball is, if they see you at a brewery and they see a logo that they're familiar with, and they go, "Hey, what is that? That's Head. What is that small tennis racket?" And then here we go.
A lot of brand recognition there, and loyalty for people. So yeah, they got the Hydrozord Pro grip. Which is cool. So yeah, that's another margarita paddle. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Wow. That's incredible,
it'll
man.
Be nice to, it'll be nice to have that set up and go. Taking this weekend off. That's why we're doing this little thing here, and then I'll actually be in Colorado with my family over Thanksgiving, but Brett, he will be here holding things down at No Label Brewery on the 25th, so Sunday. So come and burn off all the calories that you've eaten in the past 3 days and play some pickleball. And that was the first brewery that I started at, which is awesome. They have a really, really amazing open paved area right out in the middle of everything. So it's like when you're playing there, it's kind of like you're the spectacle, like you're the show out there. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. I mean, just keep rocking and rolling.
Have you seen an increase in popularity or demand for people that are interested in playing pickleball in your area?
I have. The answer is yes. It's very the pickleball kind of space in Houston is interesting. There's a multiple different groups that, there's one on the far north side of the city, there's one on the far south side, and there's one on the far east side of the city. It's just there's not a single dedicated pickleball court in all of Houston, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
It's insane. I mean, with the town of 4 million people and it's fourth biggest city in the country, not to have a single dedicated pickleball court is still kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, that's bizarre to me, man. I can't believe that. I mean, it's almost good though for you, because now that you can go to these breweries and you can set up pickleball courts, obviously not all people have a place to go and they enjoy it. But at the same point, it's kind of hard for the sport to really grow if you're not going to have dedicated spaces for everybody to start leagues, start a community, and continue to, grow and play the sport and start to improve at it.
Yeah, I agree. It's been nice. There's been people, I'm talking to a guy that lives just outside of Atlanta, who's got kind of a league going, that reached out to me and was like, dude, I love this concept. Would you be interested in, doing one here? And I was like, yeah, man. Like, I'd sent him, kind of the introductory document that I use. So he's trying to get that up off the ground in Georgia. And then there was a lady that's a pickleball ambassador in Baltimore, which obviously that's a little difficult now. But she said, once springtime comes around, like, I want to have everything set and ready to go. She already had like 3 or 4 breweries that she had kind of targeted as being valid places that it could be a thing. And that's honestly what I'm working on right now behind the scenes, is getting basically like an affiliate program where you can just kind of turnkey it. I've got everything set up. I've obviously got Head on board for, you just call up breweries, give them the spiel, and just kind of activate it inside of the community, finding partners inside of the community that are there that want to do, bring health and wellness and fitness and a social vibe together in the open space that breweries are right now is what I'm striving for.
That's really cool too, because it hits on something that I think I see at a lot of breweries around here, which is they call it bend and brew, which is a lot of yoga and open spaces at the brewery and at the tap rooms and stuff. Yep. So it's really speaks to something that we obviously like on a pickleball podcast, but it's cool as hell to be able to think like, as much as yoga is a workout and all that nonsense, it could be great to be able to be like, get the best of all worlds and be able to do things in there. I mean, I travel a lot to Cincinnati, for work, and Rheingeist Brewing is down there. And inside their facility, they have a wiffle ball league on Tuesday nights. And then on Wednesday nights, they have a dodgeball league. And you're like, that's exactly what you're striving for in a lot of these things. And so it's amazing that you have something that can reach out towards it. So.
Yeah, no, it's great. And it was funny, just this week, I made a post on Instagram, but on the 13th, it was National Pickle Day. And there was, just through Instagram, I was just, trolling it late one night, and there was this comment at a post that I had done at a brewery called Texas Leaguer Brewery, and it just said a Texas Pickle Company, and it was like, how did I not know about this? And so I reached out to him, and it's a husband and wife team. They both have day jobs, but they make these amazing crafts. They have two different recipes. They have like a garlic dill and then a habanero dill. And they
nice.
I have jars of them in my refrigerator right now. And he was like, I said, would you like to come out and just set up your table? And they go around to artisan, farmers markets and set up, and he came to an event of mine, and leading up to it, he was like, I hear that breweries are great. Like, I had a buddy that went and sold some stuff at one, and sure as shit, like, you get people with 2-3 beers down the hatch and a $8 jar of pickles seems like a pretty damn good idea. And he almost sold out that day.
Wow.
He sold like 40 or 50 jars of pickles in like 3 hours. And so he was like, when's the next one?
Really?
I want to come back. And it was
That's
crazy.
so
Like,
cool.
he high-fived me after the fact and was like, I spent at 8 hours and not done anywhere near that. So he and I have connected and over music and beer and hanging out. So that's what I'm trying to do, is just get more social, more society into breweries. Not that it's they're struggling to do that, but to have it be something more and really be kind of an activation place for the community around it, so people can just show up and do their thing and have a great time and really just get to know the their neighbors.
Yeah. So have you had anybody show up to any of your events that you've had at the breweries that are like really good, like 4.0 or above players or anything like that have surprised you?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, this was probably July, down at a brewery called Backfish in Pearland, Texas. And this lady's name was Leanna Camper. And I think she's a 5.0 player. She was definitely out at Indian Wells. And to see, and I think her significant other was there, and he was like a 4.0 or a 4.5. And just to see the strategy, the gamesmanship, just the preciseness of them on the court. It was, I had not ever experienced that before, but it was a lot of fun to watch those two play for sure.
That's pretty awesome.
That's cool. Did they go in with the interpretation that they were showing up to play pickleball, or were they just there drinking? They're like,
they were showing up to drink.
I'm gonna go.
They knew about the event, but they were just there for fun.
Cool. So they were. I mean,
yeah.
were they in sneakers, or were they playing in dress shoes and loafers and stuff? Are they?
No, they just look like your average workout gear kind of deal. But yeah, they were super cool and nice. Just enjoyable to talk to.
That's pretty awesome.
Do either of you guys have a ranking? I mean, where's I saw the tournament between you and Webby, Eddie, and you clearly got the best of them on that one. So I mean, like, when you go into a tournament, what are you playing at? Yeah, that's right, strong.
Yeah.
Man.
So my US a.k.a. official rating is like a 3.484 when it comes to men's doubles, but I'm still playing at a 3.0 level. To be honest with you, I find that a lot of people play down. So even when I have played 3-5, I do feel like a lot of those people are pretty good. So I feel comfortable and competitive and confident still at a 3-0 level. But I definitely am making a lot of strides to try and increase my game and having fun with it. So that's where I am. But Matt, I think Matt's on a little bit different level than me. Right, Matt?
I'm a 7-0 player. No, I'm a 4.2, I think, in men's, and then a 4.34 in mixed, and
How long
7.8 in hothead. I've been playing 2 years, 2 and change here now. The thing that sucks about, I'm jealous talking to both of you guys in warmer climates, is now it's indoors, obviously in Michigan, and a lot of that's going to be gym floor. And so when you do gym floor, it's a different ball, different line, different everything. Everybody plays a little bit different. There's a few places, actually, one of the best places, Grand Rapids Racket Fitness. They have 4 dedicated courts, and that's where higher competitive people play. And so when we're playing there, it's awesome. But the gym floors and all that just get right. And then regardless, there's only so many times you can play, which sucks. So we're trying to dedicate certain times to be able to get better and do all that. But I'm loving it. I'm loving traveling upwards in a lot of the sport, and this keeps getting better and better. To your point, Eddie, I'm seeing a lot of people too at the 4.0 level that I think they just jumped into pickleball, and they have a hell of a good tennis background, a hell of a good racquetball background, and then they're all of a sudden, they're playing 4.0 because it's their first tournament, and then lo and behold, they're actually probably a 4.5 of that nature. So it's just consistent play with like a lot of 4.5s and 5. We're blessed in this community to have a decent amount of 5.0s and 4.5s, so it helps make me better by getting bashed in the face with balls and leaving stuff up and feeling inferior in that nature. So yeah.
Yep. That's why I say every time I get smashed with the ball, it's just one little notch that is helping me increase my game. So I encourage it. I bring it on, and what are you going to do? It's fun.
Yeah, it is what it is, right? You're out there. It's all love and fair and love and pickleball.
And pickleball.
Or whatever.
Yeah, I believe that's a great movie with Omar Epps and what's her name?
Love and pickleball. Oh. So what about you, Andrew? Do you have an official rating, or do you do any tournament play at all?
No, man.
No.
It's funny. It was a couple of months ago, and I got out, somebody's like, oh, come play. And usually, I'm standing at the table and talking to people and drinking beer. And I realized that I'm a lot better at drinking beer than I am at actually playing pickleball. Not that I'm an unathletic person, but I got out there, and there were a couple of women in their 70s that took me and one of my buddies on like a 10, it was like 10-1 journey before we even realized what was going on. And so I was like, okay, well, I should probably put a little bit more effort into this and not look like such a poser on the court. So, the last month or two, I've worked with Brett, my partner, with Pickle Pints, and just, he's helped me out a lot. So I don't have an official ranking, but I feel like I need to get one.
Well, Webby is now officially a USAPA ambassador. So when we finally get a chance to hang out with you in person, maybe he can get you a starting point. So that way, when you get into your first tournament, you'll know where to play at. And then, with the new ranking system, the more you play, the more well-defined your ranking is going to be, and the more other people play as well. So hopefully within the next 6 months, things are going to start balancing themselves out to where the new ranking system is pretty accurate. But so let me ask you a question. So I find that if I have one beer, I play much better. I feel like it relaxes me a little bit, because sometimes when I'm in tournament mode, I get in my head and I'm all anxious and tense and I'm smacking the ball out and it's crazy. But I have a beer, it calms me down a little bit. What's your magic number where, it's like the ratio of beer consumption to play? What's your number?
It's the same as pool. It's the same as bowling.
Yep.
In the 1 to 2 range, not real good. 2 to 4 probably pretty decent when you're drinking water. Anything more than that, and it gets messy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, Matt, what about you? What's your good ratio?
I'm more of a 12 to 15 the night before guy. So then when I show up to the tournament, I'm hungover enough that I'm just like, okay, let's just get out there and get this over with. And then you're like in it and you're like, oh my God, competitive side take over. Here we go. And then by like, it always the first match when I'm in a tournament, the first one, you're like, wow, 4-11, we're better than this. And then we win the next two typically, or when we do. And then you shake it off and you're like, okay, the hangover is all in this shirt that I'm wearing. It's all sweated out. Now we're good to go.
I've sweated out everything that I drank the night before. I'm good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, it's funny. So we were talking with Cassie about that before. We've had her on the podcast a couple of times, and she definitely agrees that playing hungover is the best state to be in when you're in a tournament, because you kind of like stop caring about what people think about you, because you're just trying to like get enough energy to show up to the court and not barf on the way up there. Yeah.
Yep.
A, let's not vomit, and B, let's not like fall.
Right.
Those are the two things.
Yeah.
Yep.
Meanwhile, your fumes
I
are
see a
getting
lot
people
of
drunk
people-
around you, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you can thank our partners for putting up with us smelling like that alongside of us, because like, they're like, I'm like, me, and they're like, yeah, just take it, get away.
Right.
It's you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, Andrew, do you have any events coming up or any exciting things that you want to share with our listeners and audience here?
It's I've just got the rotation that I'm doing right now, but I'm actually working on a tournament. It'll be indoors at a brewery called Spindle Tap, and this place is amazing. The first time I went there, they're all hazy IPAs, like NEPA IPAs, just super hazy. They got a lot inside of the kind of hip hop community in Houston, which is cool. They have one called Five
Chopped and Screwed, man.
Yep, exactly.
I love it.
They've got one called 5% tin. Hop Gusher. I mean, they have kind of centered around all their namings are either hip hop or I guess there's like 4 or 5 guys that own this kind of shell company that does oil and gas and then logistics. And then like the brewery is like, their like fun thing that they do that they're just like killing it at. So I went to talk to the event coordinator over the summer. And, I was in the parking lot as usual with my dumb, like measuring tape, like figuring, would this work? Would it not work? And so I met with her and I was like, we could do it out here. And she's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And I was like, well, what about in the actual brewery? And she's like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And I was like, well, like, where are you kind of picturing this? And she opens up this big, like, bay door. And it was this gorgeous warehouse with this like newly poured concrete smooth floor, and I just looked down and you could fit 20 quarts in there without any problem. And she goes, this is where I want to have it. And I was like, deal, like that's awesome. Like
where do we sign? Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm working on actually getting a tournament together in February. This is something is completely new territory for me, but just really reaching out to the partners that I've met along the way in Houston to get a nice showing and have it be indoors where the weather won't affect it and it won't be hot, it won't be cold. And so that's kind of the next progression that I'm working on right now.
Wow, man.
Dude, I don't know if you caught me like drooling here right now, but you just hit like the 3 of 5 quadrants of my life here right now. You got beer, pickleball, and hip hop all in one tournament. That's crazy. Like if you could just, that's unbelievable. Like I'm glad this is like only like a torso up, because if you would see my below half right in here right now, I'd be tighting a boner here from how much you turned me on here.
So. Oh, that's awesome. That's pretty cool. So when is that event again?
It's gonna be the first Saturday in February.
Nice.
I can't remember
awesome.
the date right now, but first Saturday in February.
Matt, what are you doing the first Saturday in February?
Shit, I mean, going to Google Flights and looking at flights here right now to.
Bring it on.
I'll see if I can get up. I'd like to play. I'm going to put this out there on the Eddie and Webby podcast right now. Bun B. If you don't know how to play pickleball yet, Bun B is like the Houston ambassador of hip hop. So if he in any way does not know pickleball, I would love for Andrew to teach you. And then by the time we get there, it'll be absolutely like, you know what I'm saying? Paul Wall, dude, the people's champ.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The people's champ, baby. Yeah.
You could at the end of the matches, instead of giving out medals, dude, you could just give out grills for people that win, like whatever color grill, silver, gold, and bronze grills. I think I'd want a silver grill, to be honest. So I might just tank the gold medal match to get a silver grill from Paul Wall.
Just to get the silver, yeah. Oh, and that's the
thing.
Man. One of the beers that Spindle Tap makes is called Diamonds in My Mouth. And you know,
nice.
Yeah, it's awesome. So yeah, that's I'm excited. No, I haven't gotten as far as actually like registering the event on pickleballtournaments.com. Do you guys have any experience with that?
Yeah, I mean, I've never set up a tournament myself, but I've signed up for quite a few. I do know that what I've heard is pickleballtournaments.com. They're very easy to work with. They're a great small organization. I can't remember the owner's name. She's a woman. Melissa
McCurdy.
There you go.
Yeah, Melissa McCurdy. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. She great person. You look her up. She's been on a lot of podcasts out there, and on a lot of content out there on YouTube. And if you reach out to her, she can totally set it up. And the good news is, if you set it up on pickleballtournaments.com, even if it's not a USAPA sanctioned event, it can still actually go towards your USAPA ranking. So
that's great.
So it's a good way to get your foot in the door there, and also people who are new to the sport that you're trying to get involved, they can actually become members of the USAPA, which is a very small dollar amount to become members, get their ranking, and then I think once you get your ranking, then that's when you get hooked, right? That's when pickleball hooks you, and now you become addicted, and then the demand is going to be so high that people are going to be throwing courts up everywhere. So that tournament could be the catalyst to bringing pickleball to Houston at the level that it should be.
That's exactly what I'm going for, man. Like I hope that other people see it the same way. I mean, that's it. Like, it's a great indoor facility. You got the nectar of the gods at your beck and call, and I'll be there with some hip hop. I mean, I love me some 90s, underground hip hop. Let's do the dang thing.
Yeah. I'm serious, man. If you make this a hip hop themed tournament where they have that here right now, there's no way I'm not getting on a flight here right now. Shit, Abby, come on, man. Let's go play together here, Eddie.
Let's do it, man.
You wear that shirt. Let's do it, man.
Yeah. Are you sure you can play with a 3.0 player like me though, Mr. 4.5? Yeah.
I'll drink some Houston lean to bring me down to the 3.0 level, and then we're good to go. I love it.
Let's do it, man.
Perfect drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'll bring the styrofoam cups. You bring the Robo. I love it.
That's awesome, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's incredible, though. Seriously. And the cool thing, too, about pickleball tournaments is what I do, because apparently I'm a nerd about pickleball, but it's nice to be able to just go and, like, I'll look all the time in the Michigan. I'll just click the Michigan tournaments by state, figure out where these tournaments are happening. So even if I live in Grand Rapids, Royal Oak is, basically a suburb of Detroit, which is 2.5 hours. I'll look at it and say, you know what, that weekend, I don't really have anything. I should be able to make it happen. So let's plan something around it. So if somebody has a cousin in Houston, or they just really intrigued with the tournament, it's cool to be able to register with them to see how many tournaments will happen in the state. Exactly. If you can make it and if you can't. So there you go.
That's right. Bring it. We'll be here.
I see the tournament's logo as like a boombox, and then instead of the speakers, it's pickleballs, and then instead of like the cassette player that pops down, it's like a pint in there. So
I love it.
I mean, I'm going to steal that.
Go ahead, man. All's fair in love and pickleball.
That's it. I think we just coined that phrase. Did we not? I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
it.
totally agree. Yep, I think we should
Yeah.
we should market it. We own that. The three of us, and we'll include Webby in it. We own that phrase now. Let's market it. Trademark it. Done.
TM, baby.
Yeah. Well, Andrew, man, I'm super excited for you. Like, you got so many great things going on. It's awesome to see the success that you're having. It's awesome to see, what you've been able to do to bring pickleball and craft beer together. I know we mentioned this when we hung out before in episode 9, but it's like pickleball, craft beer. It's like, this perfect marriage that I love to see a lot more things coming together through. When I was up and when we met. Well, we didn't actually meet Matt there, but we met a lot of Matt's friends in Grand Rapids at the Beer City Open this summer. Perrin was one of their main sponsors. In fact, I think they were the main sponsor, right, Matt?
They were the main beer sponsor, the sponsor of the beer garden, sponsor
Yep.
beer. So they're dude, I would love to reach out to you, Andrew, give you some of their contact information because I'm sure they'd be all about having you.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've got friends in San Diego that saw the news clip that when I shared it, via Facebook, and they're like, "This is great. Like, why is this not a thing? Like, this needs to be like everywhere." And I'm totally on board with that. Like, absolutely. There's 6,300 breweries in the country right now, and if you kind of look at Houston as like a little segment of that. There's around 50 breweries in the greater Houston area, which is awesome. And I'm at 6 of them. And so call it 10%, maybe 15% of the breweries across the country. You're looking at like 1,000 places where the pickleball could go easily and have it be an instant, like, just plug and play and get on with it.
Yeah.
Like that's there's a ton of opportunity there. I mean, it's not the fastest growing sport in the country because it sucks and it's boring. I mean,
Right.
there's been nobody that's ever been on the court that walked away and was like, I didn't really think that was very much fun. And, so it is what it is. I mean, we all play it. We all love it. It's so accessible for 6-year-olds, for 80-year-olds. It doesn't make a difference. Like, that's, it is what it is. And that's the nice part about it.
Yep, absolutely, man. I know I'm hooked. I know Matt's hooked. I know Webby's hooked. So once you start and get into it, it's a great sport, man. You nailed it.
No turning back, it's just, you're it.
Yeah. Take that hit and you got to keep having it. So
It's one of my favorite questions when people ask me, they see, they're like, "Are you still doing that pickleball thing?" And I'm like, "It's a fad." Like, I'm just like, "Oh yeah, I did it for like a week or so," and I was like, "That's fun." Now I'm on to curling,
right, knitting,
like,
cross stitching.
No, it's like,
Weight watchers.
no, I'm still
curling
doing
and
it.
Weight Watchers is what I've moved on to now. That's the next best thing.
Exactly. I get a free membership at Curves, so now I'm involved with it here right now. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, cool.
That's great.
Well, thanks again, Andrew. We appreciate you coming on. Best of luck to you, man. I love we love what's going on, and I'm serious, Matt. I think we should talk with Webby, see if we can't get down there for that tournament in February, man, because that does sound like a good time.
Sounds
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
Pickles and pints, baby.
Yeah.
It.
Love it, man.
Well, thank you guys so much for having me. Much love, much appreciation, and look forward to doing it again soon.
Nice, man. Well, thanks again. You're always welcome on the show. Don't be a stranger. If you guys get an opportunity, follow Andrew on Instagram. What's your handle again there, Andrew?
Pickle and Pints.
Yep.
Same thing on Facebook. Pickle and Pints. Made it easy.
Yes. So
Love it.
go check him out.
Doing it right now.
Yeah.
Doing it right now.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again, Andrew. Have a great rest of your day, man. We'll be in touch.
All right. Sounds good. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, man.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
See ya. Look at this. I'm going to follow
Are you
him
doing
live right now.
You're
Boom.
doing it, huh?
Following Pickle and Pints.
Nice.
There it is.
Love it.
It is.
Yeah, guys, go check it out. I mean, what he's doing is pretty awesome. And I hope it happens more places too. We've never had pickleball at any of the breweries down here, and I'm in Naples, which is like the hotbed of pickleball. So it needs to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to happen more.
It does, for sure, man.
Yes.
I think it's amazing too, just because it's going to get a lot of people. I think part of the thing that people like pickleball about is that you can be good almost off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
Not like, good, like you're going to compete against the pros, but good in the sense that like every time I play tennis with people, it sucks because I suck at it. Like, and so when you play with people, you go out in the court and it might as well just be called shag the tennis ball because you're looking all over. When you get a volley of like 5 hits, you're like, that was awesome. So like when you get this and you start it off the bat, it's great. So that's a great place to be able to have to happen because some people can think that they're not maybe the most athletic or maybe the most hand-eye skilled, or even they didn't play a racket sport whenever, and they get that and they're good. And then there they go. Here comes the mainline addiction.
Yep. Get him in there. Get him hooked. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Yes. Get him hooked.
Get him hooked.
Well, that was awesome, man. Speaking of pickleball, we actually have some cool pickleball topics we want to talk about today. We actually have a couple of updates. I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but there was a ton of social media coverage at Nationals at Indian Wells. I don't know, Matt, did you follow a lot of that?
I did. I was actually out of the country and I still was able to follow it. That's how much I really wanted to watch it because it's probably been the most, I would say, historic, like followed event.
Yeah, I was blown away. I felt like I actually felt like I had an idea of what was going on there. I feel like with a lot of these pickleball tournaments, even if you have national coverage, they're focusing on the gold and silver medal matches for the highest level pro athletes and all of the different events you're doing, right? With this one, I saw people that I know, like I know Andrea Coop and her sister Maggie were playing together, and I saw that somebody was live streaming that, and I was like, yes, like I was so excited to be able to watch them play and compete, and I was so excited for it. I know that Scott Golden, he was just live streaming every possible second that he could, and that was so cool to see.
It was very cool, and I hope that that's the reason why the sport continues to go. Like, you can almost see somebody on each court being able to do something. I was so happy to see Andrea and Maggie, who are both friends, and they're on this. Not only that, but then they got 4th place in the pro division. That is huge. It was so, like, it felt like we felt like we were like, we're rooting for you here, back home, let's go. But in addition to that, it was cool to be able to see, because typically what happens is that you'll find somebody in your own community to say like, hey, Eddie, can you live stream Matt's match? He's a 4-0. He's not going to be live streamed by anybody else. So please live stream it to the Grand Rapids Pickleball Club community page. And they do that. But then when you get to have other people out there like Scott Golden and all these other people, they're all just like live streaming matches and stuff. And the Pickleball Forum, I'm sure, saw a spike in traffic that week. So.
Oh, yeah, man. I feel like every time I log into Facebook now, it's like 10 notifications of your friend posted on the Pickleball Forum. This video is live. Like, that's so cool to see, because honestly, I do think that, it's almost like a grassroots movement we have going on with pickleball right now, where the money's going to have to come before the coverage does when it comes to a lot of the major news outlets. And don't get me wrong, I know ESPN3 was there. I know that we have CBS that comes to the U.S. Open, and I love it. I think it's great, right? That's going to help. But I do think that the majority of the coverage that we're going to see growing this sport over the next few years is going to be from social media. And all you need is a cell phone and a tripod, and just get it out there. Let's get content. Let's continue to get all this content out there, because it's awesome to see.
It is, and it makes me feel like a loser every time I send it to my Facebook, and all my recommended friends are pickleball people, 65-year-olds, and then a bunch of other people that are like all my news feed. They're like, "Yep, I'm still doing it. Here we go."
Yep, that's awesome.
I love it.
Couple of updates actually from Nationals. We had Gizmo Hall on our episode 2 weeks ago, live from Nationals, which was pretty cool. And Gizmo took home a bronze medal in men's singles, which you have a picture of here. So, yeah, congrats, Gizmo, on that, Gizmo's been blowing up social media too. That was pretty cool to see. So very excited about that.
It was awesome. I mean, especially because, again, we keep saying he's not the most unique. He's not the most normal pickleball player in the sense that what you're used to. So it's really good. Need that. Need some more of this. I want to be the John McEnroe of it. I want to be crazy and screaming, yelling, and a hothead. So that's going to happen here at some point. In fact, off air, I can probably tell you a few pros I've witnessed that are like that at this point.
That have done that?
So yeah,
Nice.
that have been those kind of hotheads. So
we'll have to get them on, or actually we should live stream and provoke them and be like, see, this is what they're really like. This is what
exactly.
This is them. Yeah.
Paint them like that.
Right. Another cool thing was we were talking about Andrea and Maggie Raminci. Am I saying that right? I feel like every time I go to say your last name, I say it different. So
you got it right.
Maggie Raminci, she won an Eddie and Webby shirt at the Dink for Pink, and she took a picture of herself wearing it here at Nationals. Woo! Yeah. So Eddie and Webby we were represented at Nationals, which was really cool to see. So, and as we mentioned, Maggie did awesome when she was partnered with her sister Andrea. So congrats to you guys. That was really cool to see.
It's very cool too, talking to Andrea. She's like, yeah, I played 2 tournaments at Indian Wells in tennis. And, because UCLA, they use that as like a home court for a couple tournaments a year. And then she's like, she's going back there for another sport. It's got to be so cool and so legit for all of it and stuff. And so way to represent the Eddie and Webby show. We should get, and then this is like it. And then also too, the cool thing, you guys had the CEO of Paddle Tech on. Guess what paddles they were playing with?
That's right. Paddle Tech, they were in Paddle Tech clothing. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Love it.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. That's how you know you made it. We say that a lot. So that's how you know we made it. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So one of the things, Matt, that I've been trying to do is scour the internet looking for video of you actually playing. And I haven't been able to. So, I'm hoping that it shows up one day. Because as you know, we do a whole series of videos that we call the Pickle Thug Life, right? And it's a take on the, if you guys don't know, it's kind of like a meme, the Thug Life videos, where typically you capture somebody doing something real kind of thuggish and outlandish, and then you stop and it fades into music, and usually they have sunglasses or a gold chain on or whatnot. So we actually have a few videos that we want to debut here today. And the first one is actually, the first one is from Webby. This is pretty impressive. So I'm going to go ahead and let me cue that up and play that now. Yeah, so that was.
I'm so glad he has the logo on his paddle too, as he got that. That's perfect.
Right, it's almost like he was trying. He's like, "This is gonna be a perfect Thug Life video," so he positioned it there. But yeah, I mean, that was a nice diving save. The funny part is, Webby actually sent this to Andrea Coop and was like, "Check out this diving save that I did," and Andrea responded with, "Nice, but why weren't you at the line with your partner?"
Yeah,
so, totally.
Seriously.
Yeah. What do you do, Webby? You wouldn't have to do a diving save if you were playing the game right. Jeez.
You're trying to make the Thug Life real. I get it.
Right. So that was Webby's. But we can't stop there, man. Like, I don't like to toot my own horn, but on occasion I've happened to have a couple good plays at the line, not like way back where I'm not supposed to be out of position, like actually the position.
That's why you beat Webby in the head-to-head match, because you're at the line.
That's right. Exactly. So I went ahead and I made a little video of myself. Let's check that out here.
I love it. Look at that smile.
Boom.
Look at that genuine smile. That is capturing the best. That is awesome, man.
Did you
nice
like that?
Around the post.
Yes.
ATP.
Yeah, I was so happy I caught that on video, man. And yeah, well,
That's
it happened.
a smile. That's
Right,
why you're
exactly.
smiling. You're like, I know that battery better still be rocking here right now.
Well, it's funny. The last match of that day, the battery actually died halfway through, but we were joking like, oh, I would have been so mad if the battery would have died right before that ATP shot because,
Oh yeah,
I've been trying, like every time I go to play a match, I'm like, I got to recreate that, right? And every time I bang it off the post or I end up hitting it too short. So, I had my one moment of glory.
Yeah, yes. No, you'll get them back, man. You know exactly when to get it then. They're not easy to pull off most of the time. So
No, they're not. But they're fun
in
when
position too. He was in position to get that back, and you hit it so low that he didn't get it. So that's a perfect ATP.
Yeah, it was almost like I planned it, even though it was just like luck and adrenaline at that point. And it was like 98 degrees and 99% humidity that day too. So we were dying, but that was fun. Good time.
Yeah.
And now we have another one. This was actually from the Dink for Pink, which this one's kind of funny. I'm not even going to say anything more, but I'm just going to play it.
All right.
So was that Shane, Matt? Was that him? Yeah.
That's Shane. That's my buddy Shane. That's awesome, man. I've never seen him that pumped up in his entire life, like about pickleball. That's the first time I've actually seen that. I've seen people put water bottles all the time over in that area, and that's unbelievable that he hit that. That's very good work by the Eddie and Webby people to be able to put that Thug Life on the water bottle.
On the water bottle. Yeah, so that was Shane and Tony playing together.
Stokes, right?
Yep.
Shane Stokes.
Yep. And then they were playing against Webby and Paul Richards, and Shane just bashed it. He went for the ATP shot, and it hit his water bottle, and it would have been a beautiful shot. But had he put his water bottle there, had he not, it wouldn't have gone through. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was actually a good match. I got to watch the raw footage that Webby took from that, and I know he threw some of it into our videos, but that was pretty cool to see. So
yeah. That's my one pissed off moment is I wasn't at that thing. So never again. I'm always going to be at the Dink for Pink.
Would have been fun.
Yep.
But Matt, I did feel bad for you. So I know I said I was scouring the internet looking for video of you playing pickleball, and I couldn't find any of you actually playing because I really wanted to see. But I did make you a Pickle Thug Life video. So let's go ahead and play that here.
Right.
Yeah.
That is not the case.
Lucy and Matt got into pickleball.
There's Shane again.
Yep. Right. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
So
I love it.
I found you in the background. Yeah. I think it's funny too because everybody's probably like, "Oh, you're gonna do a video of Simone," and then all of a sudden it's like, "Nope, there you are in the background at the Margaritaville Lounge at East Naples."
I love it.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
It doesn't get more thug life than standing in the background of an open bar lounge, drinking, watching the best players in the world play. That's quite thug life.
Yeah, exactly. So hope you guys appreciated that. I love making those videos, man. We've done a few of them now, and I keep trying to release them. Thank you. I appreciate it. I enjoy it. I think they're fun to do. So hopefully you guys like them as well.
They keep the attention span of even the most ADHD people because it's 6 seconds usually.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you can't focus on that for 6 seconds, then we got bigger issues.
Yep.
So cool. Well, Matt, we've been talking a lot about craft beer. We've been talking a lot about pickleball, but we haven't really given you much of a chance to talk about what's going on in your world. So why don't you tell me what's new with you? What's hot and heavy? Give us all the scoop, man. Give us the dish.
Oh man, this is usually around, especially living in the Midwest. Snow gets going, so this is when I typically go out and do a lot of more comedy dates than I typically do. That's usually because it's awful season in this state and you want to expedite the winter, so you usually book yourself with a bunch of different comedy dates. I recently performed for the Humane Society in Southwest Michigan for a fundraiser for them. I have a few more dates upcoming. There's going to be a New Year's Eve gig in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I was in Nashville a little while. I'm trying to think of many more of the dates I have upcoming. Actually, I'm going to be opening for Chris Farley's brother, Kevin Farley, in the state, in 2 different gigs in December. That'll be pretty fun. And then I'm trying to think of any. I'm in Cleveland this coming Monday.
Wow.
So yeah, it gets busy. So I guess the best way to say is check out my Instagram handle. It's at Party Girl with a U, Chica, Party Girl Chica 420, because we legalized recreational marijuana in this state now. So Party Girl Chica 420. And yeah, that's my Instagram handle. I post a bunch of things on there. If you're on Facebook, I'll throw up some dates and stuff on there periodically. But outside of that, yeah, I'm going to hold back the podcast release date here right now because Adam Deggy and Dave Dyer, the 2 other comedians, we got to commit. We got to get this, but it's coming. We have too many episodes logged for it not to have happened. But we're refining everything to make sure that's a perfect amount. So
Okay. All right. Well, I'm super excited for that. I know we keep bringing it up in every podcast, and we're not doing it to pressure you. I just can't wait for the content, man. I think it's going to be great. So it's awesome.
I appreciate it. That means a lot because it makes us actually be like, let's get this going. So we're there.
Nice. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, super excited to check that out. Yeah, go ahead and follow Matt at Party Girl Chica 420. I still laugh. I can't even say it without laughing sometimes. So that's pretty funny stuff.
My girlfriend's in the background. She just hears that handle and she just shakes her head. So
that's funny.
It works.
Well, I have a little surprise.
Also, actually, real quick, there's a huge major comedy festival in the entire country, but in the Midwest, it's called Laugh Fest, and it happens in Grand Rapids during the dates of March 7th through the 17th. It's the 9th year this comedy festival has been going on. Last year had the likes of the names of Trevor Noah, Tiffany Haddish, Hannibal Buress. Wow. So many other people. I mean, it's a consistent. This Tuesday is the announcement for who's going to be here. And it's fortunate enough for me because the festival takes place in my backyard that not only do I get to open for some of the big names, but I get to produce my own shows. So I'm going to rely on the Eddie and Webby podcast to hopefully bring me back the first part of 2019. And I'll hype up all this stuff that I'm going to be a part of. And it's a really cool ass thing because like in years past, he's a Daily Show correspondent. His name's Michael Costa. He's a former professional tennis player.
Yeah.
Because of it, we were able to bring him out on the pickleball court because it was what I was into, and he's a friend of mine, and I've opened for him a bunch, and he loves pickleball now. So I think he's going to hopefully get into it. And I've followed now the director and head producer of Entourage, Doug Ellen.
Yeah.
Am I saying that right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He loves pickleball. And
No way.
I'm trying to. He loves it. He all the time on his Instagram, he's posting about it all the time.
That's amazing.
He's actually, you'll see he's invited a few pros, Christine McGrath and Jeffrey Warnick, and Kyle Yates and stuff. I've been to his house and like played. He's got 2 courts at his house.
Dude, that's amazing.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So he's a big person of it. So I'm trying to connect him with Michael Costa because he's out in LA a lot of the time, which is a lot of fun. But when this festival goes on anyway, long story boring, it's really cool thing. And it supports Gilda's Club. It's more importantly, Gilda's Club Grand Rapids. Gilda's Clubs across the country and international, but it's grief counseling and cancer support for people that are going through cancer or family and friends affected by people that are going through chemo or cancer and everything else. So it's a really cool festival to be a part of because I'm not just doing a festival that sponsors big conglomerate,
right?
You know, like insert that. It's for an actual nonprofit that is an amazing cause. So
and that whole
it's
event
a cool thing.
goes to sponsor them.
Yes.
Oh, that's
every
awesome.
part of it. 100% of the proceeds stay 100% in the community, even though it operates as a whole. Gilda's Club operates 365 days a year and around the country and internationally. But Gilda's Cup Grand Rapids. It was started here. Gilda Radner's from Michigan, so the hub is Grand Rapids, and so they wanted to be able to have a big comedy festival for it. So if we're going to Houston in February, hopefully you guys are coming to Grand Rapids in March.
Let's do it, man. I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's great. It's great to see all the great things that you have going on in your comedy world as well. Super excited about that. And like I said, can't wait for that podcast to come out. So
thanks,
it's going to be good stuff. Well, I did want to tell you something. Actually, a little surprise for you. We actually had a response from Glenn.
What?
Yeah, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. So I'm going to go ahead and play that here for you right now.
Hey guys, this is Glenn. I wanted to take a quick minute and reply to the call out I guess I got from your guest host, your second guest host, not your first one. That was me. I think his name was Mike. I chose Bud Light. I stand by that choice. Maybe I'm not as good of a person because of that. He seems to know a whole lot more about beer, so we'll take his word for it that Bud Light isn't good. I drank plenty and seemed to enjoy it. I have had some Miller Lights, on the other hand. Not so much with those. He really kept going back. He sort of got a little hung up on it about the mouthfeel. I should have just said, when you guys asked about mouthfeel, I should have just told you that there wasn't one and refused to answer that question. Anyways, keep up the great work. Talk to you later.
So what do you think about that, huh?
That was the most Glenn response of all time. That was so Glenn. I don't even know how to describe it. That's really, really great. I love the fact that he said that. That's really honest. He should have just said no. No comment to mouthfeel. The mouthfeel feels like a liquid in my mouth. That's exactly
Right.
what a Bud Light mouthfeel is. Liquid in my mouth. Wetness in my
Right.
mouth. I'll tell you, that's good. I love you, Glenn. This is all done in jest, but Bud Light sucks, man. And if you continue to support it as much as you think you should, I'll tell you what, Glenn, as long as we can keep this going, man, I'm all for it here right now.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad Glenn finally responded. I'm sure. I can't wait to see what you'll come up with.
How many episodes later was that?
Too many. What, four or five? What, yeah. It's been a little while, especially now that we're going to every other week too. So.
Yeah, come on, Glenn. Get the internet at your house.
That's right. What are you doing, Glenn? You need to be quicker with your responses on the Eddie and Webby show. Come on.
Come on, man.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you, Glenn, for that. If you're listening out there, we appreciate you responding on Anchor. If you guys do want to leave us an Anchor message, I promise you we will strongly consider it playing on the air. And as long as it doesn't suck, we're probably going to do it. So leave us an Anchor message. What else are we going to talk about today, man? Do we have anything else? Any other good pieces of content for the world?
God, I don't know. I got an idea. I listen to a podcast consistently that's called it's called Good One. It's a comedy podcast where they do something that's similar to like a lightning round. They ask people questions and they basically say whatever their first response is. So if you have a list of things and you say like I don't know, Ryan Gosling, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? So they'll do something like that. So they do that a lot when it comes to jokes on this podcast. So I thought on the Eddie and Webby / Eddie and Matt podcast, this would be a good opportunity for us to try out what would be a lightning round on the Eddie and Webby podcast.
Ooh, I like it. I think we should do it. And I think I can come up with a list of things to ask you. What do you say?
I'm all for it.
Why don't we call it the third shot drive round, right? Because it's going to be pickleball themed, but I think we should do like part beer, part pickleball, get it both in the mix. What do you say?
I like that because when people have a good third shot drive, it is like lightning. So that actually works out. So,
Yeah, it surprises you, and you're like, "Whoa!" I was expecting a drop, and you just slammed it at my face. Yeah,
I'm all for it. Those third shot drive round.
All right. So what do? I just say the word, and you give me your response, right? That's what we do.
Say the word, the phrase, whatever, and I got to come up with the immediate response.
All right. I just did words, so hopefully this will work for you. We're gonna start with beer. The first one, hops.
Oh, heavenly, gloriousness, the ambrosia of the gods. Yeah.
Okay. It's kind of a simple one, but a simple question to ask you. I think you did very well there. Let's go to another one. Dank.
Dank. Juicy. Smells like a safety meeting. Weed. A roommate I had in college. Ridiculous. Ridiculous, I should say. A founder's beer.
Yeah. Nice, man. I like that. A roommate I had in college. Yeah. I think we all had that roommate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right, here's one. Yeast.
Yeast. Similar. Ambrosia of the gods. Controlled. Bottles. Infection. Bread. Rising. God, just it reminds me of beer. Controlled, active. It's there's a whole documentary on yeast about how there's only like 5 strains of it in the entire world, and they keep like replicating it all across the country and stuff. So
yeah, I always joke that, as a brewer, we're really just yeast farmers. All we do is make this sugary drink, but the yeast is what makes beer. They do all the work. So
yep, exactly. All we're doing is drinking yeast at the end of the day.
Yep. All right. Here's one for you. Sparge.
Sparge. Jesus. Rhymes with Marge. No definition. Sounds like something a awful rapper, mumble rapper uses in a line that he thinks that he's rhyming something with something, but then just says sparge in there because he's like, he can't rhyme. And he's like, oh, my ex-wife Marge, I wanted to live with her, but she lived on a sparge. So
I love it.
That sounds like one of Webby's raps at the start of the show. That's what it really sounds like.
Right. Yeah. He's like living large, living on a sparge. Yep.
What is that an actual word?
Yeah. So it's part of the brewing process. It's towards the end before you go to boil. You drop water on top of the grains after the mash process is done, and it converts all the sugars, and that's what helps drain it into the boil kettle. So, yep. Sparge.
Wow. I feel embarrassed that I didn't know that. If there's any brewers that I share this with watching, I'm sorry. Educate me more.
Seriously. Need to clean it up, Matt. Jeez. I
know. I'm trying here. I try to do my homework before this podcast.
All right. Last one about beer is mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel. Gloriousness. Bubbles. Sensational. The first description I give one of the things, Glen, Bud Light, Glenny Bud Light, Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross.
I love it.
Yep.
Coffees for closers.
Yes.
Yep.
Always be closing.
Always ABC. Nice. Well, that's good. I think we should go on to some pickleball terms, right? You ready for this?
Okay.
We'll start off with an easy one. Dink.
Where you should start, how you learn the game. The shot that will win the point. Sometimes, I don't know, the hardest thing for tennis players to get down. That's what I think.
Yeah.
For pink.
Yeah. Hey. Nice. I like it. The next one, onyx.
Oh, man. Indoor ball. Orange. Paddles. Wes Gabrielson. Slam. Da 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 da. Let the boys be boys. Were you waiting for that? Did you
I
put
was
that there for me?
I totally put that there, hoping that that's where it
I
would go
love it.
towards. So, yes.
Who slams harder, Onyx or Vince Carter? Onyx.
I love it.
I love it.
Yeah. All right. What about?
I always think of that. It's funny.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Nothing. I just always think of that. That's funny you mentioned that.
Well, so I was streaming the 90s hip hop channel the other day, and that song came on, and I'm like, God, I remember how much I used to love just cranking this song up, and it get me pumped up. And right before baseball games, we listen to that and little Master P, make him say, oh. That was like, no. Yeah, that was like our thing. So
My mom hated that Onyx song because she knew I'd like stand up on couches and bounce around and stuff because it was like the most hardcore. It was like punk rap, like almost
Really?
like before Crunk came around with like Lil Jon and Yin Yang Twins and stuff. The Onyx was like hardcore, like let's go, like Crunk. It was awesome.
that was sweet. All right, you ready for this one?
Mhm.
Put away.
The shot that I most mess up, the win, Andrea and Shane's best shot. What my mixed doubles partner, my girlfriend Andrea Borderwijk, does better than I do. The best shot. I mean, I love that. It's really the hardest thing to do because I want to do it too often as opposed to just keeping the point going and then actually when you get a put away, putting it away as opposed to just like forcing a put away. That's what I
Right.
think of.
I think the most embarrassing put away biff is when you have the nets that are kind of loose at the bottom and there's room for the ball to go underneath and you hit it and it goes under the net and then pops up on the other side and everybody's like, what was that? And you're like, I just totally biffed that put away. I hate that.
Exactly.
Happens all the time.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. All right. Drive.
Oh man, the third shot, this lightning round. I think what's becoming of the sport. I really think that the third shot drive is going to be the most, I don't know, powerful thing. I think that as more tennis players come into it, the third shot drive, the drive shot is going to become more of this. It's not going to be this game of finesse where you're just quote unquote a banger. It's going to be an actual style that like, if you're good at it and you can handle it, the drive is going to be quote unquote the future. So work on your drives, kids, but also get the drop down first because that's the most important shot in the game of pickleball.
Mm-hmm. You sound like my instructors right now. I was playing with a guy in our community that he was really showing our community how to come to the net and play a lot slower. And I like to do the drive every once in a while to mix it up. And anyway, I did a drive and he yelled at me. He's like, we're not learning that now. And I'm like, yeah, but I want the point, man.
Yeah, I want to win the point. Come on,
Right.
bro.
The ball landed like 3 feet in front of me. I'm not going to run up and do a quick little drop, man. I'm going to drive it right at the guy who did the stupid return on me. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right, you ready for the last one?
Let's go.
Bounce.
Bounce. What you should let the ball do when you're in the kitchen. What you should let the ball do on the serve and on the return. God, if you can get a good bouncer, spin bouncer, just even a top spin bounce on it all, it's going to change the entire point. What I learned as a pass in kindergarten to give to my other basketball player. It's funny. I played with the owner of my company on a trip recently. I taught him pickleball a while ago, and we played on that. And him and his wife played, my girlfriend and I, and they have no idea how to let the ball bounce twice. They serve it, it bounces, and then they run to the net, and then they hit the ball out of the air. And I go, I'm literally yelling, bounce, 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 bounce. Bounce all the time. So I feel like I say bounce more often in pickleball than anything else, even when I'm playing with skilled players and everything else, because it's like, if you think it's going out, the code word is like bounce, 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 bounce. Like let it bounce. So fun.
Yeah, good job. I like the third shot drive round. It was good. It gave us insight into your brain, that crazy brain you have going there.
The Matt / Webby brain. So.
I love it, man. Well, that was a good show. That was fun.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. We got to learn about how Houston's driving the community and that there's cool things happening in breweries, which is amazing that the fact that you guys were almost ahead and a part of the fact that craft beer and pickleball goes together. And then in addition to that, we learned about technical difficulties and we learned about 20 to 30 mile an hour winds and we learned about amazing fall beers and we got to hear from that Glenn too as well. Amazing. So I love it.
Yep. It was all good stuff. This was episode 27, so I want to say thank you to all 27 of you out there that are still listening. I'm very excited about that. Seriously, Matt, thank you so much for stepping in for Webby. This was fun. I hope we get a chance to do it again. This was a great time, so thank you. We really appreciate it.
My pleasure, man. You guys run the best pickleball podcast / beercast / tech podcast in all the land. And I'm happy to be a part of this. I'm just happy to see my name in a graphic in lights. Mom, made it, Mom. I made it.
Yeah, you're like, you can be proud of me now, Mom. Look at I'm on a podcast. So that's funny. There is actually a quick video from Webby that I wanted to play real quick before we finally sign off here. So I'm going to play that right now.
Oh, hey, how's it going? Unfortunately, I am not going to be able to join you guys for the podcast today. I'm going to be spending my weekend in the woods, and I don't get very good reception out here, so won't be able to join you today, but good luck on the show. I'm sure it's going to be a great one. Matt, good luck filling in for me. I'm sure you'll do an awesome job, but try not to do too good of a job because I don't really want to be replaced. So, anyways, I wish I could be there with you guys, but I'm sure it's still going to be a great one. I can't wait to see the episode, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, so that was a nice little message from Webby from up in the woods hunting, part of that weird hunting subculture that I really don't know what they do, but they like to kill things and eat it. So it's cool.
I love it, man. He wore orange and everything. He could have been more playing the part. I'm sure he's up there being a USAPA ambassador and not even shooting stuff. So that's the way I like him.
Yes.
No, I love him. Seriously. Thank you so much, Webby, for allowing me to be a part of this. And I hope I did you justice on the, oh, hey, how's it going in the start of the episode. So,
yep. I think it did. I think you did a great job. So thanks, Matt. We love feedback, guys. So download the Anchor app, leave us a voice message. We'd love to play it on the air. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram, both at Eddie and Webby. We're also on Facebook, so check us out on Facebook, Eddie and Webby. We've been posting a lot of stuff there lately. You guys should also go out, download the Pickleball Anthem on all your major digital music platforms, iTunes. We're on some, touch tunes at bars, and I keep looking and I can't find it there, but apparently we're there too. So hopefully we'll get there soon. And on that note,
don't go to those bars. If you can't find the Eddie and Webby Pickleball Anthem, don't go to that bar. Just say, I'm not coming back here unless you have the Eddie and Webby. Listen, look at how good this is to dance to here right now. I get a little Dr. Dre, the next episode out of this here right now. This is it's the next episode.
Yes. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. This has been a great show. On that note, I'm Eddie.
And I'm Matt, not Webby. Peacing out.
See ya.